Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. The May 25th edition of Monday Night Raw was solid. It was a solid episode of Monday Night Raw, but there seems to be something missing that makes it go from solid to really, really good. Something is missing to make that jump. But again, the May 25th edition of Monday Night Raw was solid. It was solid. I'm enjoying what's happening with Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, trying to predict potentially when Brock Lesnar will actually officially retire, because we are seeing the rematch in Clash in Italy. Obafemi, Brock Lesnar, huge rematch. My prediction is that Brock Lesnar is going to win this match. So now they're 1-1. And then something's going to happen where Obafemi has to re-challenge Brock Lesnar because he lost. He doesn't want to end that way. He wants to kill or retire Brock Lesnar. He challenges him for a match at SummerSlam with his career on the line somehow, some way at SummerSlam. And then Obafemi beats Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And then Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam in Minneapolis is officially retired. But I'm glad there's a second match. And what makes Brock Lesnar great is that he is a legit fighter. And sometimes as a fighter, you get beat. Sometimes you get knocked out in the first round. Sometimes you get caught with a punch or a choke or whatever the case may be. And Brock Lesnar knows that because he's been in the UFC and he's done that and he's been there and he's had real fights. And so now when he talks about his promo on Monday Night Raw where he's like, yeah, I got my ass beat. That's legit, dude. That's what happens sometimes. You're not going to win every fight all the time. That's impossible. Sometimes someone's going to be better on that day, or you're going to get caught. And Brock Lesnar brings that realness. He's like, yeah, dude, I've gotten my ass beat a bunch of times. And Obafemi brought it. And he made me want to retire because I was embarrassed and I got humbled. But now I'm back because I have to teach him a lesson, or whatever the case may be. And they have that match in Clash in Italy. Hopefully it's about 6 to 7 to 8 minutes long. And it's awesome. And Brock Lesnar wins barely. And then boom, the big 15-minute match they have. The masterclass. Now they know each other really well. They fucking go head to head in SummerSlam. And then Brock Lesnar officially retires from there. So I thought that was great. I thought the Penta versus Evans match was really good after the beginning part. The beginning part was very, very clunky. They didn't know which direction they were going on the leg sweeps. It was a very awkward start. I've been saying this for a very long time. I don't think Penta or Javon Evans are really crisp on the basics. I think they can do a lot of high spots, big moves. But the in-between stuff is really important. The way you sell, the way you maneuver, the way you get to the next spot. Like really, really important. And Penta is never going to get good at that because he's already been wrestling 20, 30 years and it's never going to change. So he's just a high spots guy and an entrance. Fine. Javon Evans can get better at it. He can be better at the in-between stuff to make everything that he does mean just a little bit more. And he needs to lay his shit in a little bit more and be a little bit more crisp with his shots. The execution there is really important. But for Javon Evans, if he really wants to be a star, that in-between stuff has got to be better. Look at someone like Seth Rollins or AJ Styles. The way you get to the next spot is just as important as the next spot. What you do in between is just as important as what you do next, right? You have to lead them through a story. And so Penta versus Evans was good. It delivered. They had a lot of high spots. Great. It's interesting to see what might happen with Montez Ford. I predict eventually he's going to have a huge singles run. He's going to have a massive singles run. I just don't know when it's going to happen because there's an emphasis that's been put on by Triple H and WWE to revamp the tag team division. That's why Enzo Amore and Big Cass have been rumored to return. And if you're going to do that, you want the Street Profits. But do you care about revamping the tag team division or injecting a really good single star into the singles competition with Montez Ford, who I predict could be a massive star? Trick Williams, people are talking about him. I think Montez Ford is better. Javon Evans, people are talking about him. I think Montez Ford is better. I think Montez Ford has the people. He has the ability. I think you got to let him run with a singles career, a singles run at least. They tried it with Jey Uso. It was a flop. Try with Montez Ford. I think he has the goods. I really, really do. And so again, good stuff happened on Monday Night Raw. There just seems to be something missing. And now we know that Logan Paul has a torn tricep and is going to be out months. That's a brutal injury. So, fast and quick recovery to Logan Paul. And then it seems to me at this point, like, why is the Vision still around? Their guys just cannot stay healthy. Brunson Reed, Braun Breaker, but Braun Breaker's back. Now Logan Paul. Literally all they have is Braun Breaker and Austin Theory. Freaking Seth Rollins left the group because he got injured. Like, it just seems not good. It just seems not good. And so I think WWE has to figure out at some point that this might have been a failed group. It was cool for a little bit. They won tag team gold. Brunson Reed, when he comes back, can kind of just do whatever he wants. Doesn't need to be part of the Vision. But I think WWE is going to continue holding out with the Vision because they really love it. But man, did they have some bad luck with injuries and injuries and injuries. But now I guess it's time for Austin Theory. Like, Austin Theory's there. He's the leader of the group. Obviously there's Braun Breaker, but he's not heavily as involved in kind of the day-to-day stuff like Austin Theory. Austin Theory is the workhorse of that group. Now he's really the only member of that group outside of course, Braun Breaker, who's the star above the stars. But then you have Austin Theory, who's featured all of the time. And so I don't know if you just shut that group down. They seem to be getting injured so freaking much. They can't stay healthy. Logan Paul's got a torn tricep. So it's interesting where they might go now with the Vision, as kind of Braun Breaker and Austin Theory are the tag team champions. So maybe as soon as next week, potentially you could have them lose it. Maybe you disband the group. Maybe you don't. Maybe you wait for Bronson Reed to come back, depending on when he comes back. Because you get Bronson Reed back, now you got a bigger powerhouse, and him and Braun Breaker and Austin Theory. Now you kind of have a group. Right now you don't really have a group. You just have a kind of a pair or a duo. So it's very interesting about, the Vision. And then of course, the show ended with the blood oath sealed. Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns will try and settle their score in tribal combat in Italy. This does, for me, genuinely feels like something big is about to happen on Sunday. I don't know. Do they actually pull the trigger? Do they actually pull the trigger and crown Jacob Fatu as a new tribal chief, as the new world heavyweight champion? Does WWE actually have the guts to do that to their biggest star in Roman Reigns? Is Roman Reigns pushing for that? Because the blood oath is sealed, tribal combat will happen. You're going to see so many different people involved in this match. Jacob Fatu lost barely at Backlash. Roman Reigns just survived. Will they pull the trigger? I don't know. I really don't know. But in my heart, it feels like something massive is about to happen. Because SummerSlam can still be huge for Roman Reigns. Maybe there's a rematch there. Maybe he just has a big one-on-one match. Maybe Jacob Fatu does walk into SummerSlam as World Heavyweight Champion. I think you got to go for it. You got to see what happens. Jey Uso became World Champion. And Jacob Fatu is leaps and bounds better than Jey Uso. And I think if he beats Roman Reigns in tribal combat and they pull the trigger, it could be something special. It could be something special. So we'll have to just see what happens in Clash in Italy. If WWE has the guts to pull the trigger. Because again, solid episode of Monday Night Raw, but it feels something is missing, and maybe that's something that's missing is WWE playing it safe. What would be the opposite of playing it safe is pulling the trigger on Jacob Fatu in Italy, at Clash in Italy against Roman Reigns. That would not be safe. That would be having the guts and the balls to say we're going to fucking go for it and see what happens. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.